Hey everybody, welcome to Vegans Talking Shit. I'm Joey.
I'm John.
I'm Vanessa.
And we're going to continue our conversation with Sergeant Vegan, Bill Muir. And yeah, he has a lot to say and we have a lot of questions because he has a hell of a story. But before we begin, I ask all of you to like, subscribe, and send us a review, especially on Apple Podcasts. Yeah, do your thing. You know what you got to do. Subscribe, like, ring the bell, whatever. All right.
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you are, like us. And comment, please.
Yes, please.
We need to know if you guys like, give some ideas for us for next social facts and stuff like that.
Exactly. Because how many topics can we do? Give us some ideas, everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Without further ado, here is Sergeant Vegan. I want to make sure that we talk about your books.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, because I think it's interesting because as far as I know, you've written 3 books. Are there more?
I'm going to grab them because they're literally within arm's reach.
No, that's great. I just like how the 3 books I know of, they each fill a different void. You wrote nonfiction, you wrote fiction, and you wrote a children's book.
Yes, and not a full plug, but I do have a book that I wrote about my time in Japan, because we were speaking about Japan stuff, that it may be my next book because it's been done for years, or it might kick around for another 10 years. Who knows? I wrote it while I was in Afghanistan between fire missions, and I was like, let me write some some stories of being a punk rock idiot in Japan. We'll see if that ever makes it to the light of day. But first book, Vegan Strong. I wrote it like an Army field manual on how to be vegan. Yeah, it was fun writing. I think I had originally wrote it as kind of like the vegan guide to the apocalypse. And I don't know. I think especially in these, I wouldn't call them super dark times, but they're not.
No, they're super dark.
No, but they're not super undark, that's for sure. Especially when we don't know what's going to happen with Impossible. Will it be not a vegan company anymore? What's going to happen with Beyond? Are these other companies go away? Stuff like this. It talks about how to cook tofu and how to make seitan. I feel like every vegan should know that, especially if you get start to get too attached to being able to have all these easy, viable vegan alternatives. Sometimes that's gonna not always be around for you. And luckily there's companies throughout the world that have their alternatives that have been thriving for years. Just check out, if you ever want to see real amazing stuff, Taiwan has a thriving vegan faux meat market. Absolutely amazing. I also wrote Adventures of Sergeant Piggy for kids.
Oh, that one I didn't see before. That's so cute.
I was like, how do I follow up my How to Be Vegan book? I'm like, do I write another book about vegan and health stuff? I thought, that would be boring if I wrote more of the same. So instead I wrote a vegan picture book.
Wow, it's a pretty one. Look at that.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm going to get that.
Shout out to Hayden Fowler for illustrating it. And basically my idea behind this was I want to have something that has a low-key vegan message and make it for families who have a kid, not any of this like really sad, like life sucks and, abusing animals sucks. If you're a little kid, you shouldn't have to be like scared into, thinking the world is full of darkness, because the world has a lot of amazing things to it, and I more celebrate them. And there obviously is some low-key vegan messaging in it, but I keep it low-key. And then lastly, Dead Meat, which is...
Love the title.
Thank you. Vegan science fiction. It's not for everyone. It's kind of like while Adventures of Sergeant Piggy celebrates light and happiness and all the great possibilities of the world, Dead Meat is meant to not be that. So
Yeah.
I've actually recommend, some people have met me at Veg Fest, and they've showed interest. They're like, whoa, that's kind of cool that there's like a novel about being vegan. And I'm like, yeah, like, what's kind of like when you ask, like, what's your spice tolerance? I'm like, how are you with like violent movies and stuff? And if they're like in the G category, I'm like, this is not for you, bro.
So
Like,
Vanessa's going to buy the children's book.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
will.
She will not buy that book. Joey
Yeah.
will buy
Yeah.
that book.
See, I like the Terrifier movies. Like I'm into horror.
And
I'm
how
into
about
this-
you, John? You want to
I
learn
like-
how to do Satan?
No, I'll buy that book too.
Yeah, this should
He
be
doesn't
like,
do
so
anything.
the best critique I got from it is one of my buddies helped me read it, and he read through the whole thing, and he said, in like not joking, he said, your book gave me nightmares. And I was like, that, I said, that is the highest compliment, and that's what I was going for. Like I was trying to create a nightmare situation that mimics the horror, the absolute horror and pain that animals go through with animal agriculture. And I feel like I did that with Dead Meat. But
when is it set? What year is it set in?
it's set in 2050. Not to give too much away, the setting is, I wrote it during COVID. I was working in healthcare during COVID was, you would guess, not a super fun, snuggly time.
Once again, thank you for your service. I can't stop saying thank you for your service.
So I had, really some other people that I knew that weren't in healthcare were like, oh, this sucks. I just have to sit at home and like I work from home. I'm like, man, I'm in the hospital or I'm by myself. Like that both are very ick. So I was like, how do I use this time to my advantage? And I was like, you know what? I've been kicking around this idea for a book ever since after I wrote Vegan Strong, I started to think about 2 books. One, I kind of came up with the Sergeant Piggy, and I wrote it. I think I scribbled it while I was on a train somewhere. And then Dead Meat, I often while I'm listening to music and walking, I'll start to like think of like scenes. And I came up with a scene of someone trying to rescue humans from a slaughterhouse in some scenario where they're breeding humans to eat, which is basically dead meat. And I came up with this whole like action sequence of like, what would it be like if you're in an action movie, but that's not your background, and now you have to shoot at people, but you barely know how to use a gun, nor do you want to shoot at anyone. And that's where I got that from, and that became Dead Meat. And I have to credit the band Quicksand, because I was listening to Quicksand while I was kind of going through that, and I was like, it'd be kind of fun if we had this, and the heroes kind of behind like something behind some cover, but instead of it being like some Bruce Willis, like confident, cool, collected, it's like a real human being like us, where you're about to do some shit and you're like, oh my God, like your heart's racing and that. So yeah, Dead Meat's amazing. It's not for everyone though. So
yeah, well, not everyone can be John Wick, but also
know who is going to love it, Joy.
Yeah.
Mary.
Oh yeah, we have a
our
friend,
vegan friend, long time vegan friend,
and listener. She's a listener of our podcast. She's really
she's the number one.
Yeah.
She's in every single episode.
Yeah, and she's definitely into horror, so that sounds like a book she will definitely pick up. But also I want to point out John's t-shirt, because this is a shirt you might appreciate, any fan of horror really. I don't know if you can see, that's Ash.
Is that an Evil Dead?
Yeah, Bruce
Ash.
Campbell. Yeah.
I love it. I have 2 Evil Dead tattoos.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Fun Sergeant Vegan fact. Yes, I have 2 Evil Dead tattoos.
I don't want to forget this. Where can people find your books? What's the best place to go?
Well, thank you very much for asking. You can look up any of them on the Great Satan Amazon. Especially if you Google, you put dead meat, Bill Muir, or Adventures of Sergeant Piggy, Bill Muir, or Vegan Strong, Bill Muir, or all of them are linked through my Instagram, SGT_vegan, or you can find me on the internet on sergeantvegan.com. That's sgtvegan.com.
Dead meat sounds like it could be a movie one day.
Yeah.
I mean, the girlfriend who helped me proofread it has said that I did a very good job of making everything so you could see, like, feel it and kind of see it kind of play out like a movie. As a fan of early 80s, late 80s John Carpenter movies, there's a lot of clearly and not clearly I'm hinting toward this or I'm hinting toward that. I really liked the movie District 9 and the other movie Elysium, kind of talking about healthcare, one talking about apartheid. And I thought kind of like making those movies, but making it about animal agriculture. That's basically what Dead Meat is. Like I wanted to beat your head with a baseball bat talking about animal ag and how awful it is. And I think I achieved my goal. But I don't know. It would definitely take, I think if it was done as just especially if it was done PG, it would definitely take a lot of the pizzazz out of it. I would want the pizzazz left in, which might shock a person or two.
Yeah, it has to be R-rated.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about your last name in the very beginning. We might have even have been off camera. Muir, is it the same? The last name, is it Muir Woods? Is that, you said your grandfather?
Thank you for knowing that. So a great distant relative, John Muir, came from Scotland in the late 1800s. He allegedly was, well, not allegedly, he was a close friend of Teddy Roosevelt. Both of them were outdoorsmen. And I think he helped found Muir Woods, obviously with a name like that. And then a lot of conservationism in America. And I share the same last name as that guy, David Muir, who I think is a very famous newscaster. And of course, Mike Muir from Suicidal Tendencies.
Didn't he also start another band around the same time in the 90s? Was it Scarcipius something?
Some kind of like...
It was like an offshoot side project.
It probably might... I know there's probably Psycho, but spelled with a C. I can't remember it off the top of my head, and I may have seen them, because I've seen Suicidal Tendencies. And I may have seen his side project.
Were you like one of those kids on skateboards listening to Suicidal Tendencies and wearing Vans?
Probably. I could easily be lumped in there with them. As a high school kid, I put 2 years into the classic metal scene, so I would have been a jeans jacket mullet dude. And then 2 years as like skate hair, like, hit like Misfit style all the way down to my chin. Like I would have to do one of these to talk to you. Then most of my 20s, very short hair. Like it looked like I was in the military, and then I was in the military. Yeah. And then I pretty much just have this hair now. This is probably how I'm going to roll it out until I guess until God or the creator takes my hair away.
It's always funny how music seems so tame, as time goes by. Like in the 80s, the Satanic Panic, Motley Crue, like, oh, Motley Crue worships the devil. But now we listen to Motley Crue's music and it's so benign, It's like they weren't worshiping the devil. They were trying to get laid,
So
they did a good job too.
The word benign, Motley Crue probably did influence a lot of people to drink and maybe do drugs. So in a way, they might have been like a parent's worst nightmare. But then a lot of the metal that I did listen to was, I don't know, Slayer. I mean, I love Slayer, but their lyrics were definitely pro-violence. I know Slayer themselves, if they ever got a hold of this, might disagree with me. And again, I love me some Slayer, but it's not necessarily anti-violence. They kind of get the violence and they roll around in it. They're stoked about violence and everything awful. And I mean, that's amazing, but I don't know. I don't have kids. Would I be a little weirded out if my kid was listening to that? I mean, I could see where the pearl clutching of parents comes from. And yes, we know, now Eazy-E and the stuff that that hip hop that was around when I was a kid is not that big of a deal. But at the same time, like, they were glorifying gang violence. Do I love Eazy-E? Yes. Were they glorifying gang violence? Maybe also yes. Like NWA, they weren't necessarily not, but to go back to what you were saying, Satanic Panic, yes. They were talking about Iron Maiden being satanic, and neither Iron Maiden nor Ozzy Osbourne was worshiping the devil. That their brains were so small that Tipper Gore and the PMRC talk about dumb and a waste of time.
I want to touch on Eazy-E and NWA because I was actually huge hip hop fan back then. Like, that was all I listened to. Eazy-E, Ghetto Boys, Public Enemy, NWA.
Oh man, Public Enemy, it so totally holds up.
Yeah. So while I do agree with what you're saying, as a suburban white kid, it also opened my eyes to what's going on in a world I had no clue anything about. When NWA had the song Fuck the Police, it's just, okay, I saw the title and it's like, why are the police the bad guys? And then, you start to learn more about what was going on in Compton and South Central LA at the time. So I do think that it's kind of a yin yang. They do have that, but at the same time, it lets you know about things that someone who was sheltered like me had no clue anything about. And then also you have the Public Enemy, you have the De La Soul. So I don't know about now. I'm not that big into hip hop other than Kendrick Lamar. But back then it seemed like there were different genres within hip hop. So you had like the hippies, you had the gangsters, you had the political fellas, you had the party guys. I don't know if it's like that anymore.
I think it's probably even more diverse. Question: have you ever heard of Paris?
Paris, Paris? Yeah, he was the Black Panther rapper, right? Yeah, I do remember him.
Did you The Devil Made Me Do It? That album?
Was his solo. That was his first one, his debut.
If you like hip hop and you like the stuff we're talking about, check out. This is for everybody. The Devil Made Me Do It. I remember as a teenager was in some record store back when you had to go to a record store to buy music, and watching a video. And I think I had just bought a Danzig album, probably Danzig 1 or 2, because that's what I was rolling with at 16.
Her Black Wings, I think, was on Danzig 1.
Yeah. And seeing a Paris, and it was just a pure accident, and talk about worlds colliding. I feel like that it was a straight line for me for that to listening to getting into Public Enemy, and then also Rage Against the Machine pretty much right after that, because that Rage Against the Machine came out in like 90. I saw them in 2 or 3, and wow, talk about life-changing.
Yeah, Rage Against the Machine, I think that was 92. I remember the album cover, the dude burning himself, lighting himself.
Yeah. You can see that car, if the car that he drove himself there, that's in that shot. If you kind of like wide, like that shot is very narrow, but if you go like this, he drove his car into an intersection, parked, siphoned gas off, knelt, and poured the gas on himself. Like, that's a part of that whole story that I think people miss. Like, they just see that guy burning himself to death, and like the courage and craziness that would have took to drive a lengthy trip like knowing that at the end of the trip, he's going to like light himself on fire. It just blows your mind to think about. But anyway, if you go
I
to
don't know
Vietnam,
the backstory. What's the backstory of that? I don't know anything. I know Rage. I loved Rage, but I didn't know.
so
this
yeah, that
backstory.
was a Buddhist monk who, to protest the Vietnam War in the, I believe it was the late 60s, might have been 70, something like that. I know this because I read the whole thing, and I have pictures of me that I took pictures with the car when I was in Saigon. He drove, it says, like, it showed a picture of him burning himself, but also, you know, it was a wide shot that when Rage Against the Machine took just a picture of him, you don't see his car and get the context that, you know, it just looked like he showed up and did that. He did not. He drove, I want to say 2 or 3 hours to this thing, and just the courage that it would have took to do that. I mean,
to take that long drive knowing what he's going to do.
And I mean, I can't even imagine what it'd be like to be in that frame of mind, other than he'd be like, well, I also am bummed about having to pay bills, but now I don't have to worry about them. Like, it'd be,
Yeah.
I can't, it's hard to think of, like, it just must have been just absolutely nuts to be him. And that I feel like with that story, he had the frame of mind to be motionless going through all that until his final end. And that's pretty sorry to go down that dark path, but yuck.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's okay. Let's go back to the vegan subject.
Yay, vegan subject.
Bill, and after you went for the second time to the military, what did you do after that?
Well, thank you very much for asking. So, in 2010, to get back on track with my story, 2010, I had gone to this vegan culinary program, a restaurant, economy is collapsing, and I was like, well, not a good time to start a restaurant. What do I do? So I thought, okay, I'm gonna move to California, because at this time I was living back on the East Coast in Philadelphia. I was like, okay, move to California. I'll join the reserves, and maybe I'll start taking some classes and maybe go. I think I was thinking healthcare or law enforcement. And then after taking some classes, I was like, you know, I'm not 100% positive. Then at around that time, and I'm muddling the time frame, but not totally, the Haiti earthquake happened, and I ended up, through a vegan restaurant of all things, I ended up volunteering in Haiti for 2 weeks with an organization called Just for This One, or Just This One. I think it's For This One, which the idea was you can't do everything, but you could help just one person. That's at least better than nothing. And this organization was looking for a medical asset to bring to a medical mission in Haiti. And I remember volunteering and saying, like, well, like, I haven't been a medic for like 2 years. At this point it would have been 4 years, because I got out in 2006. This was 2010. I was like, but I, still have active certification, and, I wasn't an RN. I think they were looking for at least an RN or a doctor, but nobody else signed up, and they were like, well, fuck it, we'll take you. And getting the, be able to hands-on help people, wrap wounds again, do some IVs. I think I took stitches out of some builder had fallen on rebarb and gotten stitches in his armpit, of all places. And they're like, we need someone to cut out the stitches. I'm like, bro, I haven't literally done this in 4 years. And then it was all just like someone had taught me how to do it. I'm like, shouldn't someone else with certification or like letters after the name do it? They're like, you do it or nobody does it. And this guy won't. I mean, how's he going to cut stitches out? All right, I was like, all right. So I, probably didn't have any anesthetic. I cut stitches out of this guy's arm, which I remember being gnarly for both of us, because probably painful for him. And I was like, obviously I didn't want to hurt this guy. So going through that whole experience made me think, you know what? for better or worse, even though I wanted to start a vegan restaurant, this is not the right time for it, and maybe I'm not called for that, but I do seem to be one of those people that runs toward danger. So maybe I should be in that kind of situation where I can help people. And I went back in the military. I got recertification to be a medic. And then it kind of, one thing led to another. I started taking prereqs to become an RN. And then I went to nursing school in Drexel in Philadelphia and back through the VA. And I'm not sad at all that was my trajectory. I would have liked to have started a vegan spot. But this has been, I feel like I've been blessed to be able to help people. And it's cool to be an RN working with vets as a vet, because I often feel like, as great as some of my coworkers are, it takes like some extra dedication to work with patients who are difficult and who are going through stuff and are sometimes, let's face it, assholes. But because I can understand, because I know as a vet myself that we're all like 5 mistakes away from being homeless and on drugs ourselves. So I don't think of myself as anything better or different than somebody who's, homeless, on drugs. They might smell, then they look all fucked up. But, fact of the matter is they're a veteran who, volunteered to fight for his country or her country, or they were drafted. So it's not even their fault that they ended up coming through this whole situation. So I don't know. I feel blessed to be able to do that. And as a vegan who wants to change the world, it kind of like, it's just another facet of that. And if we can't have compassion for our fellow humans, it's hard to, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. And I don't know. I think you're doing a great job as far as, spreading the word. You're doing things that a lot of people, I think, would kind of take for granted. Like the fact that you are, like I said earlier, the antithesis of what many people would picture to be a vegan, yet you're out there, you're on social media, you're doing this, you're doing that, you wrote books. You're doing a lot. Like you could have opened a vegan restaurant, sure, but I think with what you're doing now, you're actually reaching out to more people. Yeah. It's somewhat ironic, and at the same time, you can still open a vegan restaurant, Well,
let's hope that happens. The last thing I want to plug is I'm possibly doing a Northeast vegan speaking tour in September, possibly in New England. I've done most of the East Coast, but I haven't done New England. So possibly like New York to Maine area, possibly.
And this would be on your website, the tour dates?
I'm going to probably have updates that would be available through the website, but I'll probably do Instagram first.
Okay.
I've only talked to 2 places in 2 of the 5 or 6 states where I'd be speaking. So nothing is confirmed yet, but it would potentially be around September. Hopefully, our soiree into war with Iran is way over and gas prices are normal, both for our pocketbooks and for the destruction for no good goddamn reason that's going on right now. Both selfishly and unselfishly, I think we should not be doing that dumb shit.
Right, I agree.
But anyway, it would be a major bummer if gas is like $10 a gallon when I'm trying to do that. Both for, I don't like children dying for no reason, and I also don't like people having to pay for. Yeah. Anyway, that's a possible thing on the horizon. So I'll be putting more about that when I know it, because right now it's in early stages, and I'm just kind of looking forward to my first target, which is next month speaking at the American Vegan Society's something or other gala.
Where will that be?
In Jersey. And I believe some people say Joyzy, but it's Jersey.
All right, Tony Soprano.
Hey, forget about it.
All right. So, John, Vanessa, do you guys have any last things you'd like to comment on or ask?
No,
Vanessa?
I already asked my questions.
Oh,
Yeah.
one thing I think we forgot to ask you is,
Okay, hit me.
you grew up in the Bay Area or LA?
Negative. I
neither.
am originally from Delaware County, also known as Delco. It basically it's Philadelphia suburbs. Have you guys watched the show Mayor of Easttown from?
I've seen an
HBO?
episode or two. Yes.
That is a fictional, exactly where I grew up. The other thing, a movie that they filmed literally in my backyard was Silver Lining Playbook. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, great movie. Yeah.
So the movie theater that they're in front of, when dude's having like a panic attack or something like that, I saw aliens there as a kid. And I have so many side stories about that because that's 10 minutes away walking from where I grew up.
Oh.
Wow.
And the running path that they're kind of running, is the Memorial Day race that I used to run as a kid. And obviously them going down to see the Eagles, that was a part of it though, when as a kid, there would have come in the vet and not the link. Yeah. You won't really hear it in my accent because while I am from Delaware County, I don't really have the accent, which sounds kind of different from South Philly, which that kind of has a rocky kind of, you're like, hey, yo, which I didn't pick up.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you've lived in a number of places too.
Yeah, like having lived in Asia for 7 years, and then most of the expats that I would have been around would not necessarily be from where I'm from. They might be from Britain or they might be from Australia. So my vocabulary was filled with words that like shouldn't have been in there. Like I might have said bollocks. I might have said like mate, like not being funny, but like there was times where most of the people that I knew were Australian. So I might have said like mate, like not being funny.
Yeah.
Or like I know I would say bollocks sometimes and it not be like I'm trying to be, spoof on Monty Python. Really, that's what people would say. So,
So I have one last question, I promise.
Give it to me.
How it is be a vegan in LA? How much you like living in LA, being a vegan?
Being in LA is amazing for many, many reasons. The weather at 10 out of 10, as the kids would say, 10 out of 10, no notes. The restaurants, amazing as well. Unlike the 90s where I might have considered murdering someone for the options that are available to me now. Now, as a like health conscious vegan who wants to kind of have abs, I have to like pump the brakes. Like literally, Besties which is near me, and shout out to Besties Vegan, they're amazing. They have vegan soft serve, and if I want vegan donuts, I can go to Voodoo Donuts, which is open like 24 hours.
Oh, we just opened a Voodoo Donuts here finally in Miami.
Oh, here I have to drive 1 hour to get one.
And thank God it's an hour away. Could you imagine the damage if you could eat a donut every day? Like I have to protect me from me. Like whereas back in the day, that wouldn't have been available. And like when people talk about Whole Foods plant-based and how great it is, I'm like, I roll my eyes because that was the first 10 fucking years of being vegan. Like there were no snacks that I can recall. I know that there were a few times out of desperation. I'm at a funeral with my brother in the mid 90s. There were no vegan options. So we ended up having a broccoli sandwich, 2 pieces of Wonder Bread with broccoli.
Oh,
That was what. So when someone's like,
he's not vegan,
we're
is
doing
he?
Whole Foods plant-based, I'm like,
Is your
fuck off
brother
with that
vegan
shit.
too?
Say again?
Is your brother vegan too?
My brother is vegan as well.
Wow.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it kind of a fun Muir family fact. My brother and I both have non-traditional vegan jobs, especially as vegan guys. He's a cop. I'm ex-military. And both of my sisters still eat meat, though to a limited extent. And one is like a high school teacher and the other works in insurance. So it's interesting how you would just guess if you were writing this that the females who are, it's traditionally more females than males are vegan, it would have been that way, except, you know, all the talk about the, you know, the poor starving bunny rabbits got me and my brother, and my sisters were more like, eh.
That's it.
Yeah,
So
but what are
did
you
you influence your brother, or did your brother influence you?
My younger brother went vegan as it was kind of an interesting thing. I declared myself straight edge before him, and then he went vegan. He was kind of like straight edge, but not calling himself straight edge. And then he went vegan kind of like, I think he was trying to stay vegetarian, and I called him out on it. And I was like, yo, dairy is rape or something like that. And he went vegan in high school, and he stuck with it. I mean, it's funny that because I remember it being, I was vegan so much longer than him, but he's now been vegan for like 31 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, that's amazing. I'm coming up on 34, but it's like still like triple decades. Yeah, the Muirs are holding it down for the vegan movement.
Yeah,
I think my brother eats a burger every meal, so he's on the opposite of the spectrum.
I mean, I would just hope as a healthcare provider that he takes care of himself in other ways. I mean, I don't know. We could go not to make this episode longer, but I think you can look at, if you take out morality, you take out ethics, and you take out caring about the planet, meat is just not the best protein source, and it's going to have so many more side effects. Again, take out ethics, take ethics completely out of the equation. But just the matter of fact that if you eat too much of it, you're going to give yourself, your cholesterol is going to go up and you're going to clog your arteries. You know, that's not going to happen with any of the vegan proteins as a side effect. The whole man boobs thing is a fucking obvious bullshit. The only thing that, yeah.
I wanna actually put an exclamation point on that. The whole bullshit belief that soy gives you man boobs because of estrogen. I think that it's probably the most ridiculous thing in the world when you consider that dairy milk.
So by that logic, every female who's vegan should be like a double D. I'm just saying, like, if you're following that logic, then that's where you go. That's your ultimate conclusion, and it's obviously not fucking true. So, not to be a vegan talking shit, but
Nice,
it's obviously not fucking true. Like, you know, there's so many things that people started, and I would call it like based on when I was in the military. Somebody starts a rumor and says something with a straight face. For example, when I was in basic training, they were like, "Yo, the rumor is," and this was something that some of us passed around and actually believed. That they said, "Okay, I heard somewhere that they're going to cut our basic training short by a couple of weeks so they could ship us off to Afghanistan quicker," and that was some real thing that we believed. Completely based in bullshit that somebody made up, because you can't process somebody to be in those jobs without going through certain amount of training. It's like obvious bullshit, but somebody made it up and people were scared and they're like, "Oh, really? We're not going to, you know, they're going to cut our rifle range down to just like 3 days and They're going to obviously not. Just like somebody from the dairy industry made up, if you eat tofu, you're going to have boobs. Dude, tofu was created in China, and go through that country. And I've been to China before. You're not going to see that many double Ds there either. Like, and you got some super healthy fucking people. So, you know, but if you want to believe a lie, like animal ag doesn't create climate change, and because somebody had a snowball, there's no climate change, and that, you know, pass around that cream cheese with a cow that has a smile on its face. Like, you want to create a lie, people who want to believe the lie will believe it. And other people who are not that gullible will be like, well, I don't know if that's true, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and all these anti-vegan lies, so there is one, and I'll leave the listener with this. And unfortunately, it's a little bit of a slight Debbie Downer. There is one airtight argument against veganism, and it's super solid and will stand up to any scrutiny.
B12?
And that is I don't care. If you don't care about your health, like you're like in some ways my sister or your brother, if you don't care about the environment and you don't care about animals and you don't care about how they're treated,
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. If you don't care about that, I can't get in your mind and fucking flip the care switch. It doesn't happen like that. And that's in a way why some of the vegan propaganda that's vegans trying to be forcefully explain things or stand with a screen of all these slaughtered animals and stuff, or yell at people like I used to do as a punk rock kid, like meat is murder, with some hand jammed sign that scribbled meat is murder. If you don't care, you're right. I can't make you care. Whether it's about any of this or politics, you know, you're right. Like that's an airtight argument. However, if you do care about facts, I have a million fucking facts for you. If you do care about ethics, I can show you ethically how killing a cat or a cow is not the same thing as cutting a cucumber. I can show you that shit. But if you don't care in your brain or in your heart, I don't got nothing for you. And unfortunately, neither does the movement. Like, this is based on ethics, it's based on morality, and it's based on facts. But I mean, if you don't care, you know, then you're right.
Well, I think that it's willful ignorance, and you'll have some people who will say, as you say, you know, I don't care, and then they'll call themselves animal lovers.
Well, they're also liars. But I mean, if you want to, I mean, obviously, if you're at that point, you're doing some mental gymnastics that's like Olympic level, and that there's nothing we can say or do to change them. We can show them evidence to the contrary, that, you know, these cows don't all commit suicide, and that's the animal that you're eating. Clearly, they're fucking butchered, brutalized, and raped into, you know, the dairy industry being around, and the slaughter industry being around, and all of this is the whole mechanism of production is just straight up evil. But if you don't care, I mean, you're right. And I'm glad podcasts like this exist. I think the best we can do is chip away at that facade of there's nothing I can do and I can't change things, to like, hey, you know, like you can at least not participate. Yeah. And the more of us that don't participate, like, I firmly believe that the vegan revolution is only happening when it comes down to people just not wanting to buy that shit. Because when veganism was popular, in the 2018s, 19s, where it was like, is everyone going vegan? Which I didn't believe that then. I just was like, oh, it's cool that veganism is a thing, because it's always been a thing for me. When it started to become a thing, it started to become a thing as it was more popular, and the more popular it became, the more people wanted products. Then the more products that they wanted, the more companies, even like shit-ass companies like Tyson Foods, was like, maybe we should have a plant-based option. That's what causes it to spiral in a good way. And we just need more of that. Anything we can do to chip away at the facade that there's nothing we can do, like this podcast, like talking to people, like vegans being in traditionally not vegan roles, the better. And hope for this, much more of this to come. And hopefully as Gen Z and Gen Alpha start to spread their wings, we'll see even more of it.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great point. Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they're doing a great job. I mean, I don't know if I'm ready to say that, you know, they're going to change the world and make the world vegan, but like they're born into being open to it, it seems. And you know, me, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Cuban mother, Italian American father, you know, it was all meat my whole life. And I think that my generation also, you know, is just a very meat generation. Gen Xers we were raised on meat, or at least that's how it seemed. To where, like I told you earlier, I didn't know what the word vegan meant in the early 90s. I'd never heard of it. But now it's out there, it's proliferating, and Gen Z and Gen Alpha seems pretty open to it.
I'm down. Gen Z, Gen Alpha, feel free to take charge and change the world. I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Listen to the Sergeant. Listen to Sergeant Vegan. All right. So I mean, we've gone long, but I mean, I'm grateful to you for being so generous with your time. I think that this has been a very valuable episode. And once again, I really appreciate everything that you do, everything you've done. And the fact that someone like you, you know, combat veteran, I just want that to get out more. I want people to understand that it's not just hippies. It's not just, you know, skinny little geeks like me. You know, it can be anybody, including a combat veteran. And so I love that you're out there, you know, spreading the word, and that it's you doing it. You know,
that
awesome.
Might be a really fun post heading, or just general heading. Vegans, not just hippies.
Yeah.
Can we give you one of these when we sign off?
Oh, please do.
Saluting Sergeant Vegan.
I remember
yeah.
I remember, speaking of hippies, 10 years ago, I was at a veg fest. No, it was more than 10 years. I was at a veg fest somewhere in Florida. Speaking of Florida, when I was there living in Gainesville, we had driven, was it Ocala? It's probably somewhere middle of the state. And there was a hippie doing an interpretive dance about fish. And I remember turning to my buddy who's also vegan, and I'm like, this is the shit. This is why people talk shit about us. This right here. Like the fact that people would be like, this, like, I'm going to do this crazy hippie dance about fish, and that's going to change anybody's minds. Like, that's why people think we're fucking crazy. You know what I mean? That right there.
I say that all the time. We have like a vegan block party around here. And every single time you go, has some weirdo dances and the weirdo dresses that some of the girls wears. And I always make the same comment, like, that's why people believe we're weirdos.
To be fair, though, if normies did something like that, no one would be like, oh, all people that eat meat are crazy. People wouldn't make that connection.
Of course.
No, they would just be like, those people are spiritual, or those people are whatever. Yeah,
we do or say something that it's like our whole group is that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think it's time to wrap it up. Bill, I really appreciate you giving us so much of your time. And once again, thank you for your services. I'll make it plural, because you've done so much. And yes, we all salute you. Yeah. You are an amazing person, and we're grateful to have you out there spreading the word.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. Thank you very much for listeing. Thank you guys for having me. As always, go vegan and stay vegan strong.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sergeant.
SergeantVegan.com. We'll put all of your information on the description. So everyone, please check out Sergeant Vegan. So with that, for Vegans Talking Shit, I'm Joey.
I'm John.
I'm Vanessa.
And
I'm Sergeant Vegan.
There you go. And we are out of here. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.